Stop what you're doing and listen. Jim Jones, the one and only Dipset legend, has just lost it, and it's all documented on camera. But here's the catch. This isn't any little skirmish, but a full-fledged assault on Cameron, a fight so savage it'll leave you speechless. Isn't just drama, this is scandal with a big S. You've seen rappers quarrel before, but this is the next level. Jim Jones, in a blind rage, takes on Cameron in a vicious public confrontation, and the internet is already on fire, and the film has gone viral faster than wildfire. But that's not the most remarkable aspect. Only hours after the tumult, Jim Jones is arrested. You heard it correctly. The police came in like it was a movie. And now the question is what truly transpired behind closed doors. Was this just another argument, or is there anything more worse hidden under the surface? Stay attentive, because what I'm going to explain will have you thinking everything about Jim Jones. Trust me, you won't believe the twisted truth. Jim Jones is no stranger to controversy. Over the years, the Harlem rapper has for stirring the pot, whether it's via his musical stunts or public feuds. But what just occurred in newest episode between Jim Jones and Cameron is like a narrative surprise you didn't see coming in this never-ending drama. Between everyone imagined they buried the hatchet long ago, yet it looks as that is far from the reality. On the surface, it looked to be simply another argument, another conflict that might have been addressed behind closed doors, but as we all know by now that nothing is private in the world of rap. In the blink of an eye, what was supposed to be a quiet conversation between two old buddies exploded into violent encounter, placing one guy in cuffs and the other bruised and beaten. The video of this fight has gone viral, and it's all everyone can speak about. Jim Jones, a guy renowned for his tough eye image, is currently at the center of a controversy. Nobody predicted the line of events that led to this. The encounter is still unknown, but here's what we know. Jim Jones and Cameron have been in the public limelight together for years. Members of the Diplomats, the legendary Harlem rap pair who delivered us endless songs and formed a dynasty in the game. But as with many high-profile relationships began to deteriorate, old grudges resurfaced, business difficulties became personal, and they were soon no longer just colleagues but adversaries. The public schism between Jim Jones and Cameron has been going on for years, and this newest incident is simply another chapter in their ever-changing quarrel. But this time things went too far. The brawl occurred at what was meant to be a private meeting when Jim and Cameron were allegedly trying to hash out their disagreements, solve their beefs, and maybe go back to their initial partners. But according to many tales, Jim Jones allegedly lunged on Cameron, knocking him to the ground, and the situation escalated into a violent battle. Delivering a succession of hard strikes was swift but intense. Cameron, evidently caught off surprise, sought to defend himself, but Jim was too much, and he had the upper. Jim unleashed wild blows, knocking Cameron to the ground and without stopping. Until the harm was done, this isn't simply another dispute between two superstars, but a metaphor for everything that's gone wrong in their relationship throughout the years. It's the result of years of stress, unresolved disputes, and we can't deny that this argument was captured on video. The film is everywhere. It's on social media. It's on news websites. It's being shared, published, and talked about nonstop. The world is watching as Jim Jones, a person who's been known to be harsh and aggressive, even takes his rage out on a former buddy and business partner. The question now is what will happen next. Let's speak about what went down after the Yes battle. Jim Jones wasn't just allowed to walk away from this, but this occurrence caught the attention of police. Jim was apprehended less than 2 hours after the incident, and the police arrived at the scene after an anonymous tip told them of the situation. When police came, they located Jim and Cameron in a state of bewilderment. Jim, the aggressor, was arrested on the spot and charged with simple assault. But things are never that straightforward, particularly when it comes to someone as high profile as Jim Jones. So let's break this out a little further. Jim Jones has been embroiled in his own share of legal issues in the past, but this time it's different. This time the public is watching intently, and of course the media has blown everything out of proportion. But the reality remains that Jim Jones attacked Cameron. The footage is out there, and as more people view it, it will not go away anytime soon. More concerns arise about what triggered it. Was it really merely a disagreement, or was there anything more at play here? According to anonymous sources close to the case, this wasn't just about hurt feelings or a misunderstanding. Full-blown eruption. Jim, in a fit of rage, lost control. But why was this about anything more than just a personal conflict between two artists who used to be brothers? Or was there some greater scheme at work? Sources close to Jim Jones, some argue that this conflict may have been fueled by something deeper than just words. Did Cameron say anything that offended Jim? Did he cross a line and push Jim too far with his statements? Or was there some other underlying problem that we don't know about? But reports have emerged that there were chats before to the event discussing business dealings, old grudges, and things that were left unsaid. But was it actually the source of this fight? Or was there, according to a few reports, Jim had been struggling with a lot of personal stress, and this struggle was the result of years of pent-up wrath, frustration, and pain. Whether or not this is genuine, the fact is that Jim Jones brought it all out in a manner that no one saw coming, and now the cops aren't the only ones examining this event. Word on the street is that both Jim and Cameron's teams are addressing it. In the aftermath of this encounter, there are speculations that Cameron has been consulting with his lawyers about pursuing charges, while Jim's legal team is attempting to put up a defense. And here's the kicker. There are suspicions that this whole episode was premeditated, or at least others feel it was all designed for publicity, just another tactic for these two to keep their names in the media. Is that true? Could this be another episode in the long narrative of the Dipset drama? Only time will tell. But let's not forget about the true result here. The foul out of Jim Jones isn't just a rapper. He's a brand, a cultural figure, and someone whose every action is monitored by the media. This fight and misarrest are harming his fans, and detractors are divided on Jim's image in ways that go beyond the legal allegations. With some supporting him and arguing that Cameron pushed him too far, others are blasting him, arguing that this is the final straw in a long line of horrible choices. So what's next for Jim Jones? Cameron, what does this suggest for their future in the industry? This is simply the beginning, and trust me, you're going to want to stay around for the next part of this story because things are about to get much uglier. The repercussions of this war are far-reaching, and they're not going to. The fallout of Jim Jones' violent altercation with Cameron is far from over, and public comments are pouring in from all sides. Just about the physical combat, it's about everything that happens after it. Levies are gathering, the media is having a field day, and fans are divided. But let's delve more into what happened following the arrest and how things are spinning out of hand for both Jim Jones and Cameron. When word of Jim's arrest spread, memes flooded social media, but it wasn't just the usual jokes. Both fans and detractors began to question that. For years, Jim had been the self-proclaimed tough man, with his entire image focused on power dominance and being untouchable. But suddenly Jim's reputation, built over years of dominance in the rap world, had been shattered in front of the world. Was he really just a man who couldn't control his temper? But let's get into the details of what's going on behind the scenes. According to insiders close to the issue, Jim Jones' arrest is only the tip of the iceberg. Both his and Cameron's teams are rushing to deal with the consequences, and multiple people have come out, claiming that Jim's team is performing damage control at breakneck speed. They allegedly called out to numerous major media outlets, pressing for positive too despite the negative coverage. The media's focus on Jim's violent outburst is causing serious concern for his commercial operations, including prospective sponsorships and future partnerships. Will Fern still desire? Cameron is apparently upset, and while V hasn't said much publicly, insiders say that he feels personally offended by Jim's actions. This wasn't just a physical attack dispute, it was a betrayal between these two. Cameron is said to be carefully considering his options, including the possibility of pursuing legal action against Jim. Whether the assault will lead to a lawsuit remains to be seen, but given the footage that's already out in the public eye, Cameron has a strong case. Let's get into the legal implications of this altercation. Jim Jones has been arrested, but what does that mean for him moving forward? First of all, assault battery charges aren't something to take lightly, particularly for someone as well known as Jim. Yes, he may have a high-prick legal team, but the truth remains that he might face significant penalties, including jail time, especially with the media so deeply engaged. Forget the public outcry is building by the day. Some legal experts are already predicting that Jim might face a protracted court struggle. The video footage of the incident has already been utilized as evidence, and it's evident that the physicality of the altercation was excessive. Fury is shown unleashing punch after punch, knocking Cameron to the ground and not stopping until the harm had been done. Experts believe this type of action might lead to more serious charges, and Jim could face a fine, probation, or even time in prison if things go wrong. But that's not the only thing Jim has to worry about. The larger ramifications are far-reaching. There are murmurs circling that Jim's label, his management team, and even his closest supporters are evaluating their connections with him. There is discussion of contract renegotiations, prospective breakups with his business partners, and even a public apology tour. The last thing Jim wants is to lose his corporate empire over a silly altercation that couldn't have been prevented. But it's too late to fix the damage. As the legal drama, the public's impression of Jim Jones is being painted with a much darker brush. Gone are the days of the calm, controlled rapper with the swagger that everyone liked. Now, Jim is being portrayed as a loose cannon, a man who can't control his fury and lashes out when things don't go his way. Is this the image he intended to leaving behind? Or is this just another chapter in his fall from grace? But wait, some people close to Cameron are stating that he's not going to sit idly by and let Jim off the hook. Cameron, the sharp-witted artist Cameron, renowned for his sharp tongue, has apparently been making some calls of his own. Rumors have been circulating that Cameron has gone out to other individuals in the industry, seeking them for help on how to continue. He's reported to be developing a public declaration, may perhaps give even additional information about Jim's activities that haven't yet come to light, that might boost his position even further. If he chooses to pursue charges, it might put him in the spotlight, casting him as the victim in this narrative. The empathy of followers and the media might work in his advantage, making Jim the villain of the tale. Cameron gets to be perceived as the more controlled, level-headed one, while Jim is forced to deal with the repercussions from his acts. Nevertheless, there is another element to this story that we need to contemplate. What if this whole situation is larger than merely a personal dispute? Jim's actions were more than just a result of rage or frustration with Cameron. There are rumors that Jim may have been under the influence during the conflict. People close to the occurrence have suggested that Jim had been drinking before. The experience may have compromised his judgment, resulting in the outburst that has now damaged his reputation. This argument is just that, but it would undoubtedly explain why Jim would do something so dumb. Meanwhile, the world is waiting for Cameron's next move. He's reported to be pondering over the legal strategy, but he's also pondering utilizing this opportunity to address the problem publicly. A tweet, Instagram post, or even a YouTube video may shift the entire story in his advantage. It's a delicate dance, and Cameron understands that he has to handle this circumstance carefully. One mistake move, and the whole thing may backfire. So what's next for both of these guys? Where do they go from here? Jim confronts a future full of will he make amends with Cameron? Will he be able to repair his name and restore his position in the rap industry? Would Cameron grab this opportunity to bring charges, or will he let the issue die down and carry on with? His career is collapsing amid a public disagreement that has been simmering for years and is likely to reach a boiling point. Trust me when I say argue that this is far from finished. As the days pass, the effects of Jim Jones' arrest continue to escalate. The question on everyone's mind is what happens next. Will Jim be able to recover his job and reputation, or is this the beginning of the end for him? Also, how does Cameron deal with the aftermath? The drama has only just started, but the implications are already becoming clear. Let's begin with Jim's defense. Despite the solid evidence of the assault, Jim's legal team has not been sitting silently by, according to sources close to the situation, and they're doing all they can to get a shorter sentence, or maybe even have the charges dismissed completely. The strategies being investigated include claiming that the interaction was not planned, They're also asserting Jim was provoked, and his response was the product of a long-standing hostility between him and Cameron. But can this explanation hold weight when the footage shows Jim throwing blows and not backing down even after Cameron was on the ground? Time will tell, but it's clear that Jim is doing all in his capacity to escape prison time. Meanwhile, public opinion is evolving, and some who once supported Jim's tough guy image are starting to doubt whether the meme culture around Jim's imprisonment is harsh, with people blaming him for being unable to restrain his wrath. There's a feeling of disappointment in the air. His once devoted followers are starting to wander away. It's a long cry. Jim was once the untouchable, larger-than-life persona in the hip-hop world, but now he's just another cautionary tale about how fast things can change. Meanwhile, on social media, criticism has been severe, with everyone from hip-hop fans to celebs speaking in. Some have rushed to Jim's defense, noting, "Everyone has a breaking point, and his actions, although regrettable, were the result of years of pent-up wrath," but others are less sympathetic. Cameron's fans are especially vocal in calling Jim out for what they view as a breach of their connection. "True friends don't attack." One commenter stated, "Jim Jones, meantime, Cameron is playing the long game. He's been lying low publicly, but behind the scenes he's producing." Legal experts say Cameron is carefully analyzing his alternatives before deciding whether to bring a lawsuit or to simply let the problem cool down. Some are believing that Cameron may take the high road and trust the court system to handle it, while others believe that he's taking a more assertive approach. Whatever the circumstances on the financial front, things are growing difficult for both Jim and Cameron's record firm, apparently worried about the damage to his reputation, but no formal statement has been published. Some sources believe they're considering methods to split. Jim is in a hazardous position since his business arrangements are now being called into question. Will he lose? Endorsements and opportunities to cooperate with other artists are all up in the air, and as time passes, it looks that Jim's empire may fall for Cameron, but the circumstance is a bit different. The whole occurrence has put him back in the spotlight, but it has also pushed him to address some unpleasant facts. He's been receiving a lot of attention from the media, both positive and negative, and some are applauding him for not participating in a public fight. Some are wondering if he's only waiting for the best opportunity to strike back. It's apparent that Cameron knows how to exploit the media to his advantage, and he's chewing his time to make his next move. But when the dust settles, it's critical to recognize that this situation is far more than just a personal dispute between two musicians. Reflects something much greater, a society that glorifies violence and hostility in hip-hop for years. The rap game has been founded on the premise of being authentic and ready to go down when the time calls for it. But what happens when that attitude goes? What happens when a brawl is captured on film and the implications are more terrible than anybody thought in the aftermath of Jim's arrest? Industry insiders are starting to study these concerns, with some stating that Jim's acts may act as a wake-up call for the hip-hop community. It's not only about lyrics or swagger anymore, it's about responsibility. If Jim can fall from grace like this, so can anyone else. The question is, will this episode lead to a larger discussion about how hip-hop culture deals with conflict, or will it simply be another example of a rapper gone wayward at this moment? Jim's activities are still unfolding, and legal fights are just the beginning. Public opinion will continue to shift, and the impact on Jim's career will become obvious in the coming months. But one thing is certain, this is a moment in time that no one in the hip-hop industry will forget, even Cameron. What's next for him while Jim is Cameron? It will be felt across the whole rap game. Their conflict has stirred up a larger topic about violence in hip-hop and the psychological ramifications of a culture based on aggression and ego is a tale that is still evolving and will have a lasting. As for Jim, it's questionable if he'll be able to bounce back, although some fans hope that he will. While some believe that his fall from grace is irreversible, Jim Jones has proved that even the most untouchable figures in hip-hop may be brought down by their own deeds. Will they rise again, or is this the end of the road for their empire? One thing is certain, this drama is far from over. We will be keeping you updated on every twist and turn as the story progresses. But for now, let us leave you with this. What do you think will happen next? Will Jim Jones bounce back from this, or will Cameron claim victory? Let us know in. There you have it, an explosive tale that continues to unravel with no end in sight, but now we want to hear from you. What do you think? What will happen next? Will Jim Jones recover, or is this the last nail in his coffin? Will Cameron seize the opportunity, or will he move on? Quietly, we want to hear your ideas. Drop them in the comments below and let's get the debate going. If you appreciated this thorough dive into the newest hip-hop drama, be sure to like this. Subscribe to see more beautiful videos, tales of intense conflicts and behind the scenes, looks that you will not find anyplace else. Do not forget to tap that notice ring so you're always the first to know when we unveil new products. Believe us, I don't want to miss what comes next. Please share this video with others, friends, so they may participate. Does not appreciate the activity, but I adore a good controversy. So stay tuned because the tale is not finished yet, and it will be right here providing you the newest updates. Till the next.